when we talk about these rape cases of women in the restroom, they're coming from cis men like you.
So this is a new Jubilee debate with Michael Knowles, surrounded by 25 people.
When you said that the rapes that have occurred in these bathrooms are cis men.
White cis men, I should say.
Yeah. What role does being white play within the likelihood of raping someone? That's truly a remarkable thing to say.
Do not interrupt a black trans woman.
I'm just trying to correct you. Well, I would never interrupt a black woman.
No, thank you.
Is it worse to interrupt a trans black woman as opposed to someone else? If so, why? I mean, I can understand if you make a case like don't interrupt, it's rude in general.
That isn't true. Loudoun County, 2021, the big case that actually ended up flipping the state was because there was a boy who wore a skirt, went into the girl's bathroom and raped a girl in a particularly hideous way. And do you know what happened? Hold on, don't cut me off. You said you wouldn't.
A cis boy.
I don't even think it's conducive to debate the frequency at which this occurs. Well, there was this one case in Loudoun County, and it's a matter of, does this logic allow for this to potentially occur?
I don't understand the fascination with trans bodies and what's happening in the bathroom. It is mostly happening
I think you're filibustering because you don't want me.
Regardless of the frequency at which it's occurring, that kind of goes to the idea of how logic can be used as the evidence. Elon Musk debating Don Lemon, where he's talking about equity, DEI policies, lowering the bar and putting people in danger. And he asked for examples, and Elon doesn't have any that have occurred. He says, but it will occur. Logically, we can see that if you impose the outcome upon the process, the only way to do that is to lower these standards. That's what logic is. It's a chain of one thing linking to another, and we can to be able to predict outcomes before they even occur. It has happened, and it will happen.
In 2018, there were 2 rapes in bathrooms, and one in Wisconsin, one in Georgia.
From men,
also because of the transgender identity.
But say it, cis men.
If you're going to describe a boy who wears a skirt and goes into a girl's bathroom as a cis man, no, I didn't.
No, you are. This is the example that you run to. Past that, you have nothing.
I've just given you 3 examples.
Nothing.
I've given you 3 examples in recent years.
You don't. You've been struggling this entire time.
News to me. Have I?
Do cis men have the ability to say, well, I'm a woman, you're misidentifying me, and now they have access to that space? Is that a reality or not?
People like you do not have the intellectual capacity to hold conversations like this, because in a minute you're going to reduce this down to genitalia, and then we're going to have to shift it somewhere else, because obviously people like you, that's where they go, right?
In a minute, and this is where it usually goes. It's like, I just can't grasp the idea that your subjective reality is just as real as objective reality. I just can't grapple with that intellectually, so there's no point in having this conversation. It's
just stating facts plainly.
I have lived experience, you don't, and you never will.
Well, that fits into the sponsor of today's video, Ground News. Ground News is an app and website that lets you compare perspectives on any topic with full transparency on the political bias, financial incentives, and credibility behind the headlines. Whatever the debate shaping our lives is, the narratives we hear can shape what we think before we've even had a chance to question it. Critical thinking is all about thinking for oneself to navigate the stories and the patterns that make up the world. We see the differences in these stories through the lens of the media. Follow your favorite topics, or simply paste any article link in their search bar to find the full coverage on heated issues, and swipe between perspectives to form your own opinion based on all the facts. Ground News was designed to give you back control over your thoughts. That's why they created their blind spot feed, one of the most important things to check before trying to have constructive dialogue with people who think differently than you. Go to ground.news/Smith or scan the QR code on the screen. Viewers get the top tier Vantage plan for just $5 a month. So it's a handy tool. How best to navigate those stories, that's where Ground News comes in.
If we're gonna think about women getting raped in bathrooms, right? It's a small percentage of trans people that are doing it. I'm not denying that that's happening, because it is a reality and it's an awful thing for women to have to go through.
Yeah.
So where this usually goes is, well, the rate of rape is so much lower than the picture being portrayed.
When a very, very, very small amount of women are being raped by trans women, why are we not having any sort of things before for men?
I think we try to enforce our laws.
Because it's occurring, it's just going to occur. Therefore, why worry about the bathroom space, because that percentage is even lower? That seems to be the logic here.
But then what are we doing about the men that are the 93% of sexual violence towards women?
That's why this is the danger of getting to that debate, to talk about the frequency at which it occurs. The point is that we are making changes that allow that to occur.
I mean, we have Republican parties who are literally putting a president who is a felon, who has sexually assaulted people.
What are you basing that on? What evidence do you have that he's sexually assaulted someone? I keep hearing this and no one can provide any specific evidence. They just say, well, I believe.
If rape is such a bad thing, why don't you believe women when they say it's happening? Because you're not believing Trump when he says that he didn't do it. You're, whatever, but you're not believing the woman.
You can't just ever take the truth at face value when someone is going to suffer as a consequence. There is someone who will then be punished, and we do not punish someone without objective evidence.
Obviously, it was not criminally prosecuted. It comes from about 30 years ago from a woman who previously said that she likes rape and finds it, scintillating. Gross. And I know it's terrible. So anyway, women
has ever said that.
That woman did. The Trump's accuser literally said that to Anderson Cooper on CNN.
It's just such a silly claim to even make. Just believe women at all times. Did you watch Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard? Have you seen this Blake Lively thing going on? We're not talking about whether or not you believe it. Is there a logical foundation, meaning objective evidence?
We have courts of law to adjudicate these claims. So I don't know. I don't think women are incapable of lying, but I do think that we should protect their legitimate political rights.
Even when women do lie, though, it's a very, very, very small percentage. Point blank, period. So
how do you even know that? How could you even begin to make a claim like that? It's a very small percentage of women that lie. What are you basing that upon? It's a remarkable claim to make.
Genderism in public look like to you?
It's men taking 900 sports trophies from women in recent years.
And they didn't take 900.
They took 900. There's a report just came out from the United Nations, actually. 890 trophies and medals across 600 women who were competitors, across 29 different sports and 400 competitions. That came out like yesterday.
And they deserved them.
Because this individual can't get past the idea that people will lie. Therefore, it's so unlikely to this individual that a man could transition in order to win. That man deserves that trophy.
And they deserved them.
It didn't happen, and they deserve them. Okay, that is the logic I hear from the pro-trans crowd. Yeah.
He makes a good point there, though. She just claimed that it's not happening, and now she's claiming that they deserve it. So that is a good catch by Michael Knowles there.
They do deserve them, because I'm sure they followed the specifications for the sport, and that's why they were there in the first place.
The whole argument is the opposite of what you just said. That's where the problem is occurring, is because they don't fit the specifications by definition, because they're not even the same gender. Their subjectivity does not allow you to fit within those specifications.
The word eradicating, what do you mean by that?
Well, the word literally means to pull up by the root. So not just to have some half measure where you say, okay, we're only going to trans kids after the age of 9, but not under the age of 9. Okay, we're only going to let men who identify as women go into this bathroom, but not that sports team or whatever. I don't think a half measure makes any sense.
Michael Knowles can try and eradicate the ideology in the same sense that you want to eradicate poverty, but that would be impossible. And there is this kind of element of sensationalism. People are going to recoil at that just linguistically, and in his business, it draws attention. I get that, whatever.
In fact, I think a lot of the conservative arguments...
You're not answering my question. What's the solution?
Oh, it means to uproot it.
So how do you do that? I want to know how you're going to uproot an entire percentage of people.
I'm not uprooting people. I would return American public law to what it was before roughly 2015.
That's I understand that point. Michael Knowles is probably going out a little bit further and trying to figure out. The problem is I don't see any solution rather than this cultural acceptance of objective truth. And honestly, I don't really care if someone wants to put on a dress or identify however they want, as long as it's not being imposed upon anyone else. That's where the bathroom conversation comes in, the rights, women's rights in general, because this is bigger than just bathrooms. Because this is now affecting other people, it has larger ramifications. That's where it ends for me.